Hi, welcome to the Kachmann Wellness Show. This is really a show about good news. The good news is that we can prevent, stop, reverse many diseases by getting rid of diabetes, especially type 2. And I'll explain the science to you. You can look, incidentally, under many other of my shows on diabetes. Preventing, stopping, reversing diabetes is a wonderful message. Unfortunately, this is not a message that's being carried by our government, our public health, our hospital system, our Senate and Congress, and they are not sending this message out. Why is that? Hard for me to understand. But I think people are making a lot of money. The government has supported the price of sugar, the price of corn, which fructose is made from, and the congressmen are getting a lot of money also, but that doesn't stop me, okay? And since you're watching this, I don't think you're going to let it stop you either. So, but I want to gather some information from here and then confirm it by looking at some other books and things. Even in England, now they're way ahead of us, and I will hold up this book here written by Dr. Jen Unwin, U-N-W-I-N. That's the wife of Dr. David Unwin. He is now in 22 different countries giving talks regularly, well known. And they wrote this book called Fork in the Road, which summarizes it pretty well. And I want you to gather some information. And a lot of it is free. You don't even have to buy this book. On page, I will read some of these to you. You can look online and look at the forums. You can see them online. You can just go to Google, say YouTube shows or Dr. David and Jen Unwin, and the world just explodes in front of you. Look at that, costs you nothing. And and then they, in their book, they mention other websites, which why don't you write them down, get out your pencil, and I'll read them to you. Food addiction, forkintheroad.co.uk, their website where I feature interviews with recovering food addicts, blog updates, and resources are there. It costs you nothing, okay? In this book, there are a lot of other contributors, and they'll be part of that. SugarXglobal.com and Robert Lustig, very famous, world-famous Dr. Robert Lustig, endorses this book. Take advantage of it, his website. Addictionsunplugged.com, addictionsunplugged.com, and an addiction expert, and they also publish a book called Food Junkies. We've all ate some food junkies. We're not being judgmental. And the thing I'd like you to know, too, is that to see if you got diabetes, and you say, oh, my blood sugar is normal, my fasting blood is normal, I don't have diabetes. That's not proof to me. You need to get a serum insulin. Serum insulin. Serum insulins can be elevated 10 to 15 years before your blood sugar ever goes up. So don't tell me I'm not diabetic because my blood sugar is normal. That doesn't prove it to me. That doesn't prove it to me. That doesn't prove it to me. Get a serum insulin. That's the bottom line. And you can hear more about it by going to YouTube, again for free, and put in Dr. Kraft. I think his first name is Joseph, K-R-A-F-T. And he's on YouTube, 96 years old, and he's died since, but he's saying he was from University of Illinois. He did tremendous research. You won't believe when the last century, and yes, he published this book then, and he said in there, I'll be looking down upon you for many years before the rest of the world wakes up and you say, well, I don't want diabetes, and there's 30, 40 diseases that are associated with it. That's what I'm all about. They are avoidable. But if you got them, remember, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just giving you information because I read a lot. Yeah, and I've written 25 books. They're on Amazon, and I just looked at the titles again the other day, and they're brutal, about fructose and my war on diabetes. And I'm not trying to sell books here. I'm trying to get you information, and I'm recommending other books besides mine, free YouTube shows. I didn't ask you to spend money. And so here's some more. The Sugar Demons by Jonathan Crawford, Fat Chance, again, Dr. Lustig. In the realm of the hungry ghost, Gabamate, processed food addiction by Joan Ifland. So these are excellent. I want you to gather information, and what's the beautiful thing is, you know what the beautiful thing is? If you happen to have diabetes, number one, it's not teach you how to avoid it, but if you happen to have it, you can get rid of it 90% of the time in 4 to 5 weeks. That simple. Yes, it's not difficult. By eating the right food, and it's not starvation or anything like that. I would teach you all that. So what are we, like type 1 diabetes, talk about that. That's where your pancreas is dead. You make no insulin. You need to take insulin to save your life. But if you, normally it might just take 10 or 20 units. Yeah, most people are eating the bad food and just give themselves more insulin. Those people live a little longer, but they'll die 20 years before their time. I want you to, even a type 1 diabetic, if that's what you are, that to eat the right food, you only need 10 to 20 units. And I've seen people now that you can live to be 100 and feel great, be normal, play pickleball with me. Yes, I know of 2 people that are like that. And so it's not in the type 1, what does it do to? Autoimmune disease is 2 things, and milk drinkers tend to get that because of the casein in milk. It is a autoimmune reaction, and it knocks out the pancreas, and you get to take insulin maybe the rest of your life, but a very small amount, maybe even a very small amount. Type 2 is where the blood sugar is elevated, you have insulin resistance, and you need to take some medication. But remember that what does insulin do? Insulin, probably the most important hormone in our body, pushes sugar into the cell to get the sugar level down. Incidentally, we only have in our blood 1 teaspoonful of sugar. Yeah. Would you believe it? Yeah, only 1 teaspoonful. So if you want to know a little bit about how much sugar there is in the food you're eating, you can go to Dr. David Unwin, and he has infographics. You can get them online. You can print them off for free. Again, this book that I held up here, David Unwin Infographics, and he will tell you certain foods that have the amount of teaspoons full of sugar that's in them. A very thing to know. So if you're eating the wrong thing, you just look at this infographic, and you're eating less sugar. Incidentally, too, we mentioned about milk, and I don't recommend you drink cow's milk because when a calf is born, they inject it with growth hormone to make the cow bigger to produce more milk, and then they put it in a cage, and they put in toxins, herbicides, and pesticides, and spray it on the cow, and then you give your milk to your kid. You see the problem, and they can have a reaction to it. A lot of allergies related to milk. a lot of autoimmune diseases related to milk. A great book to read there is Whitewash. But I really, once you read that, remember I said you need to gather information. If you drink milk, you probably didn't read it. Gather in. I never spoke to a doctor that ever read this book. It's a wonderful book. Joe Keon, it's in my library. I've read it many times. You know, I've been contacted by doctors, Indian doctors, who, because they have so much diabetes in India, largest number in the world. China's 2, U.S. is 3. We have a higher proportion. And what are the reasons for that? So I want to review India a little bit, because I've been contacted by the Indian ambassador who wanted to use my YouTube shows, which are probably 700 on there, on diabetes and other health issues I discuss. They're available on YouTube. Say Rudy Kachmann YouTube, and bang, they all come up. And pick and choose what you'd like to watch. But India is using them to, people can use their iPhone or their iPad, they translate them into other languages and dialects, and they are getting rid of some of the diabetes, which saves them a lot of money. That's the same thing Dr. Unwin really did in England, because he's a family doctor who himself was diabetic, his wife was diabetic, she was overweight, he was overweight. Patient walked in and said, Dr. Unwin, I'm not sure you know what you're talking about. And he didn't even recognize it. Been treating her 9 years, and what had happened was she gathered information, read books, went online, lost her diabetes. He didn't even recognize her. She no longer takes pills, but he's in a socialistic English system, so if they don't have to spend money buying you pills, they're saving them a lot of money. And then he did scientific studies with a Dr. Taylor, and he proved the point. And in that book, you see pictures of him and his wife, very healthy. Now they talk all over the world. It's time that we start paying attention. So in India, getting diabetes is related to sugar consumption, but also bad fats. Bad fats are a huge part of it. And when I discuss another book here called Simply Keto by Susan Ryan, that's the book I want you to follow, your Bible, to get rid of diabetes, how to prevent diabetes. But I want to discuss what they're doing. What happened in India is that it's a huge country, and the northern part, they are quite healthy. In the southern part, they're getting an extreme amount of diabetes and a very unhealthy thing. And we always thought fat was the problem. In the north, they were eating a large amount of fat, and in the south, they were eating less. But the diseases were mainly in the south. And the reason is that in the south, they were eating the bad fats. So there are good fats and there are bad fats. Good fats, which is way well discussed in Susan Ryan's book. She lists them all. And the first 60 pages of her book, she describes what the good fats are, the bad fats are. So type 2 diabetes really is a combination of avoiding sugar and eating good fats. That's the combination. And the difference between the North and the South India was a type of fat. So those the people from India are looking at my YouTube shows, which I did here, and then they go to YouTube. So the information that I'm putting out is going all over the world. I've had people call me from the Congo because diabetes is a pandemic. It's all over the place, all over the world. And incidentally, the viruses, the coronaviruses that are going around, viruses are sugar feeders. So the diabetics are the ones that are more likely to die from the coronavirus. Yes, that's New York City. 90% of the people that died from the coronavirus were diabetic. Mm-hmm. But Mayor Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, was diabetic himself, and he has reversed it through proper lifestyle. So something to remember. And so in the 1950s, death rates from heart disease were extremely rare in the north of India compared to the Western world. It was one of the lowest rates of death from heart disease ever recorded. Yeah. Data from India from 1950s and 1960s show that the residents of Delhi, which is northwest, had exceptionally low rates of coronary artery disease. In fact, it may have been the lowest in the world. But then the diet changed. And it changed because of influence from the United States. We started telling the world that cholesterol was bad for you. Everybody should take a statin drug. A total scam. Why did I say that? Read it in books. Toxic effect of statins. Yes, the cholesterol myth. There are many books out there. Read them. Don't just accept what I say. Get another opinion. Read these books to gain information. So the U.S. information changed India. They changed their way of eating, and they gave up the good foods they were eating. Now they're eating the American food and bad fats and sugary diet, and now they have the largest number of diabetics in the world. We did it. But again, gather the information, read the right books, and by the 1990s, almost all traditional cooking fats in India were replaced with high omega-6, the bad essential fat. Essential means you got to eat it due to promotion of vegetable oils for lowering cholesterol levels. The U.S. doesn't export just pop culture. I'm reading this to you. Unfortunately, it also subjects the rest of the world to its misguided nutritional science. Right here in this book. Right here in this book. I didn't say it. The book said it. I just read it to you. Yeah, a book, Super Fuel, by Dr. James Mercola and Dr. James Dinocola, whatever. Just Google it. It's right in there on page 63. Isn't that interesting? So remember I said the ambassador in India called me so they could use my YouTube shows, translate them into other languages and dialects, and people can use their iPad or their iPhone and prevent, stop, reverse their diabetes. So the main book I'd like you to have a look at. You can also look at my book, Prevention is the Cure. What I am saying really is that the school lunch program, the failure of public health, sugar industry, House and Senate lobbyists, poor nutrition teaching, processed food, cow's milk, hospital system not teaching prevention. In the medical school, they don't teach preventing this because I have been there and asked to do lectures, and the phone still hasn't rung, and that was over a year ago. Now they moved into one of the hospital's campuses, so they're not going to change. They name, matter of fact, the building after one of the excellent heads at China University. It's beyond my description that they would want to be near a hospital system that is promoting the disease and not preventing it. I'm puzzled. But in this book that I wrote describes a lot of the sciences the good and the bad fat, the golden opportunity that we have to prevent, stop, and reverse to diabetes, save so many lives. It's in this book, and what I'm saying here, which obviously Susan Ryan is saying it, and I read her book before I wrote mine, to eat smart fats, good fats, 65% of the time. Smart fruits and vegetables, only 15%. Fruit is full of fructose and fructose corn syrup. Exercise is important, but for relaxation, so we don't eat so much sugar, but exercise will not burn actually the calories you think that they do, and as soon as you get home, you eat that back. And that to eat smart protein, maybe 20% protein, yes. If you eat more protein than you need, your body converts it to sugar. It'll make things worse. A lot of people don't know that. Okay? So let's switch to Susan Ryan. Simply Keto. This is a health Bible here, right here. Simply Keto, Susan Ryan. She also has great YouTube shows and psychology of eating, and that part she calls Susan Ryan of Keto Karma. That talks a lot of the psychology of it all. And what I like about her book is that I myself recommend. It's not necessary to speed things up to eat 2 meals a day. You know, your body secretes about 5 hormones. You don't need to eat breakfast. Your blood sugar is like that in the morning. So I ate lunch after playing pickleball, taking a walk or whatever, and then dinner. You must eat anything you want to then, and you'll be losing weight. Yes. And your diabetes, goodbye. 30 diseases, goodbye. But you don't have to do 2 meals. You do. She has 3 meals in there, and that'll work fine. I think just to be a little bit slower. The first 60 pages, she describes what keto is, what it's all about, the science of it. Ketones are small energy molecules, smaller than glucose. If you don't eat sugar, the sugar level goes down, and then because there's no sugar around, the insulin level goes down and goes to the fat cells. The fat cells open up, let fat out, it gets transported by the liver and converted to ketones, very small energy molecules. Your brain loves them, your muscles love them, and you go into ketone metabolism, your diabetes will be gone quickly. We all vary a little bit. Some it'll be 3 weeks, some it'll be 8 weeks, but you're on the road to great health, and diseases you got will, first of all, not continue and start reversing themselves a bit. And Dr. Unwin, which I talked about before, actually has shown and has proven now. They used to think that heart disease and kidney disease are related. We know they're closely related. And we always thought our glomerular filtration rate, the speed that we filter the rate, like a high school kid, may be 100. Mine is 80 at age 88. Okay, proud of it. It slowly goes down as we get a little older. When you're 25, 35, they start talking about dialysis, and 15 or so, they want to replace your kidney. But you notice that dialysis centers, the kidney transplant centers, are not talking about you watching your GFR. When you see your doctor, get a GFR test. And what Dr. Unwin proved, even if it's going down, it can be reversed significantly. Yes, he proved it. So and then to go keto with Susan Ryan here, she has breakfast, lunch, dinner. She describes the chemistry of keto and and tells you substitutes, and then she has in there the recipes. Yes, the recipes. Look at this. I mean, full of pictures, and you can buy the book new for $35 is what you pay, say, on Amazon Books. But you can go to Thrift Books. I find out things are even cheaper. But on Amazon, at least I could find used copies. You know how much they were? $3 to $5. So when I talked to a church group recently, who the group all had diabetes, I bought the used copies for $2, $3, or $5. I bought them all a copy and I gave it to them. And I'm walking the other day down the street. I moved downtown because I wanted to teach my things, live closer to the library. And a lady ran up to me. She says, Dr. Rudy, I lost 30 pounds. My diabetes went away. My husband's diabetes away. Our friend's diabetes is going away. And they're all using this book. And I had told them to cook only out of this book for a couple of months. And if it worked for them, and then continue it. Matter of fact, the food looks so delicious. And Susan Ryan has written on each page the cook time, 15 minutes, 2 servings. And then she said the amount of calories, the amount of fat, the amount of protein. Yes. And it talks about net carbs, which is taking the fiber, and so it's less carbohydrates. I mean, isn't this really wonderful? So if I beg you, if you get type 2 diabetes, at least read her book. If you want more information, Prevention is the Cure would be good to explain it a little bit more. And she lost 120 pounds, and she is in there the ketogenic food pyramid. So it's not all vegetables. Just eating a pure vegetable diet is fine. You'll be better, but vitamin B12 is not made by vegetables. It's made by meat. So her pyramid actually it demonstrates very well. You see it. You see a food pyramid. See it right there, and she will tell you things you can eat, the type of meat, the kind of poultry, the type of dairy, shellfish. She lists them all, and if you follow this, I mean, I get a picture of the recipe, exactly what's in them. You cook that goodbye diabetes quickly. 3 to 8 weeks, you won't have diabetes. You won't spend the money you have to spend on it. You probably live to be 100 to tap dance and play pickleball with me. Things that I do all the time. So I'm serious about that. And I myself weigh 135 pounds, and I weighed 15 pounds more 15 years ago. I kept a pair of pants in my closet so I could look at it to remind myself occasionally. But I didn't have to have huge weight loss. But I remember if you are weighing 300, 400, 500 pounds, the world still looks good for you. You might try one of these GLP-1 inhibitors. Know the signs of it. Read the books. Look at my YouTube shows so that you gather a lot of information. But she lost 120 pounds. It's a picture of her before and after in this book, as well as her husband. So I'm about science, and I want you to be, well, why am I doing this? Am I making money doing this? No, this is all for free. I'm in the library here where every TV show is for free. I started podcasting, which will soon also be on the internet. Vibrant Longevity, Dr. Rudy, and it'll be posted within a month or so. So I think your future looks good, but you can't just be like this and not take action. But if you look at the Rudy Kachmann, YouTube, Amazon, they will appear there. Susan Ryan's stuff will appear up there. And so you can gather information. You'll spend very, very little money. If you want her book, I suggest you get a book. But you can get Simply Keto by Susan Ryan. She also has, and Susan Karma, she's got like half hour, 1 hour YouTube shows you can watch and develop your knowledge. So thanks so much for watching. So I want you to learn, follow this book. No diabetes, goodbye, go pick a ball with me. That's my plan. And live to be 100, maybe 120. That's my plan. And look at this book for recipes, or do fasting. So eat 2 meals a day, then it's quicker, you double the speed. So why did I do this tonight? Because I love you, I care about you. I'm a doctor, that's my job. Namaste. Thanks for watching this show. You can go to YouTube, Rudy Kachmann, and many, many more shows will show up talking about all aspects of health. And if you offer pills, you got to check a little bit, be sure you can reduce that, talk to your doctor, but most doctors will not be informed. You got to read these books, but if you've got diabetes, you got to be a little more careful. But you can get rid of it 90% of the time. I love you. See you at the next show. If you go to YouTube, Facebook, Rudy Kachmann, The World Explodes with previous shows, gather knowledge. You gather, look at these books, look at the TV shows, look at these famous authors, and we'll see you next time.